And so the other important piece that came up recently as well, what about students who enter into our district who take LOTE assessments, not our own, the 27 that we have online now, but they've taken LOTE assessment outside of our district. Can we accept them? At this point, the answer is no. And the reason why is that when they go in, either they take more additional courses in our school district, IWLS sites, or they take our own LOTE assessment. We cannot accept other LOTE assessments from outside district because we have no way of vetting the rigor or the components that go into it, because we were the ones that didn't administer it. It's from outside district. So at this point, the answer is still no. And if it changes in the future, I'll let you know. Okay. And in this next slide, slide 5, I gave you a link, which is it will take you to the LOTE informational page link, which has all the components that you need to know about LOTE. I will briefly walk you through some of the content and share with you some of the key highlights, and then I'll give you some time for questions right afterwards. So in this LOTE informational page, it's basically what I just shared with you. What is the LOTE? Again, it's one of the 6 pathways that we have provided for our students, so that they can have different avenues to meet the needs of graduation for world language requirement. And why do they need this? Is because it's to meet the graduation requirement, but it also satisfies one of the options to support the graduation requirement for our district. Students who have never taken a world language course, who are not currently enrolled in one, whose home language survey says that they speak another language, should consider the LOTE alternative assessment as one of the ways to meet the graduation requirement. And the counselors need to support them in this process to make sure that they don't fall through the cracks. And one of the important things also for the LOTE, when it was originally created, is really for the students who are learning English as a second language, for our EL students. So it's important that if we have any EL students that we can identify, we should do it at the beginning, so that they should be taking the LOTE assessment to move to get the world language requirement out of the way, so they can actually take more elective courses, such as their support English classes, to help them get better with English and accelerate their learning of English as well. Okay. And when does the LOTE happen? The LOTE happens every year district wide. It starts around the end of September, early October, and it goes all the way through January. Sometimes it seeps into February month, but at that point we like to end it, because then we'll move into the California Syllabi Literacy, which is very time consuming. But that doesn't mean we stop LOTE completely. District-wide, yes, we stop. But individually at different school sites, when there are needs that arise, they can always contact me or Claire, and we'll work with them, and we'll create something to support their needs. Case in point, Garfield High School, they have a very unique enrollment situation where they test almost every few months, all the way through late or mid-June. I support them with that as well. Okay. In order to pass the LOTE, a minimum score of 70% is needed. And some people have asked me, how many times can a student retake a LOTE test? I say that 3 times total, not for the retake, but 3 times total. So first, the original time when they take it, and 2 more times. So that's a total of 3 tries. And I say the retake should be limited to the seniors who really need to meet their graduation requirement. If we have juniors or underclassmen who needs to do the retake, for example, in magnet schools where they need to take other courses to advance in their career of choice, then certainly they can do it, but please talk to me about it. And right now, like I said, we have 27 languages. I'm sure we can add more in the future. So I'm just going to go down now to the piece that I think it's important, the alternative assessment checklist, which is very detailed, but we're not going to go through every piece of it because it talks about before the testing, during the testing, and after the testing. Just so you know, before the testing, I do a very detailed email message, which the counselors should have, the head counselors and all the counselors at the site should have already received about the LOTE, because we're in the midst of it right now. And in that email, it has templates of parent letters they can send out. It has links to training dates, to the calendar when they are supposed to be testing, all the information they will need. And so this is for us in OLA. It's almost like a reminder checklist for us before testing, during testing, after testing, what needs to happen. What's most important in here is during the testing, towards the top right here, there is an alternative online PowerPoint, which I'm going to show you that the counselors already have. So because it's online, they have been trained and they are giving the test on their own. So what they do is they walk the students through segments of this PowerPoint so that the students know what to expect when they go into the test. I'm not going to show this to you because it's very detailed, but it is about how students need to take the test. Okay, so students have this slide deck already. I'm sorry, the counselors do. Okay, and the other piece I want to share with you down here are the calendar and this assessment flyer, training flyer. So the calendar, when I send out the email, all the sites have links to this. And the calendar, of course, we are now in November. And in November, just so you know, we are doing only juniors in November. Okay. Right here, these are all the sites when things are happening. So they can just scroll down and see when their sites are scheduled and they can test on that day. Once a site is done with testing, they're to email me just the languages accessed. Then the detail part for me is then I will pull their data, and I usually do it that same evening or the next day, including the certificates for those kids who passed. Then I also do another data set for OLA. Then I do a third data set for the district-wide so that that can get reported onto our dashboard. Okay, so that's in a nutshell what the LOTE is all about. It's number 5 on the pathways. Do you have any questions for the LOTE?
No questions here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And again,
Good job.
we also have, thank you. We also have information here for all of you in terms of email addresses. In case if you ever have a weird situation or something you need to clarify, feel free to contact us. And I appreciate your time for listening to the information, and have a great day. Now